Om. 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 Om Brahmanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Triguణarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankara Vavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet.
Dr. Brahmara, you want to read from the 24th or?
Yeah, no problem. We'll start from 24th.
Okay.
Kastvam koham kuta ayatah kame janani ko me tatah iti paribhavaya sarvamasaram nityam tyak sarvam tyaktva swapna vicharam. There are a little bit of typos from the Chinmaya thing to this.
Yeah, I know.
But
Here also that
yeah,
even sloka number 7, it's supposed to be Saktaga in all 4 lines.
right.
It said something else, so.
Right.
Yeah, I
No,
would
but
go
that has
by.
happened over the years. That has happened with different publications. There are some typos.
Yeah. Mhm.
Tvayimaischanya. See. Tvayimai sarvatraiko vishnuhu. Vyartham kupsyasi maya sahishnuhu. Bhavasamachittas sarvatra tvam. Vanchasya chiradyadi vishnutvam. Shatrau mitre putre bandhau ma kuru yatnam vigraha sandhau sarvasminnapi pashyatmanam sarvatrotra bheda jnanam kamam krodham lobham moham tyaktvatmanam pashyati soham आत्मज्ञानविहीना मूढाः ते पश्यन्ते नरकनिगूढाः गेयं गीता नाम सहस्रं ध्येयं श्रीपतिरूपमजस्रं नेयं सज्जनसङ्गे चित्तं देयं दीनजनाय च वित्तम् सुकतः क्रियते रामा भोगः पश्चाद्दन्तशरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणम् अर्थमनर्थं भावय नित्यं नास्ति ततः सुखलेशः सत्यं पुत्रादपि धनभाजां भीतिः सर्वत्रैषा विहिता रीतिः प्राणायामं प्रत्याहारं नित्यानित्यविवेकविचारं जाप्स्य समेतसमाधिविधानं कुर्ववधानं महदवधानं गुरुचरणाम्बुजनिर्भरभक्तः संसारादचिराद्भवमुक्तः सेन्द्रियमानसनियमादेवं द्रक्ष्यसि निजहृदयस्थं देवम् मूढः कश्चिन वैयाकरणो डुकृन्करणाध्ययनधुरीणः भगवच्छिष्यैः बोधित आसीत् चोदितकरणैः इति मोहमुत्करः सम्पूर्णः.
So I'll stop sharing this. I'll go to the it's weird that the one you gave me, the one you sent me, actually it works on the iPad but not in my computer for some reason.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I should read from Kamam Krodham, right, Dr. Pramara? The 26th verse.
Yes, from there.
Yeah. Savitaji, you want to do the Padartha, please?
Okay, I'll do this one.
26, please.
20.
Kamam Krodham, yeah.
Yeah, the font is small. I'll read from the text.
Okay, I can
No,
expand it.
I'll read
You can
from
see.
the text.
Can you see it now?
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Kamam, desire, krodham, anger, moham, delusion, tyaktva, having left, atmanam, the self, pashyati, see, the seeker, saha aham, he am I, atmagyana, vihina, those who have not self-knowledge, mudha, the fools, they, pachyante, are tortured, naraka, nigudha, in hell as captives. Kamam, krodham, moham, tyaktva atmanam pashyati, sa aham atmagyana vihina, mudha te pachyante naraka nigudha. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam.
Leaving desire, anger, greed, and delusion, the seeker sees in the self, he am I. They are fools, those who have no self-knowledge, and they consequently, as captive in hell, are tortured. How nicely they said it. Leaving desire, anger, greed, and delusion, the seeker sees in the self, he am I. They are fools, those who have no self-knowledge, and they consequently, as captive in hell, are tortured. Seek Govind, seek Govind. This one was from the other Isha Upanishad, it's the one talking about. Okay. Let me see, this page is same. The condition under which the seeker reaches the state of God realization is painted here vividly by the author Bharati Vamsa. So long as we are not able to get rid completely of all our unnecessary mental agitations and the natural extrovertedness, this subtle melody of the infinite bliss cannot be cannot be contacted or clearly received in our bosom. Therefore, the Acharya says that leaving desire, anger, greed, and delusion, the seeker must strive with an enthusiastic alertness to feel the inspired experience of the transcendental reality. Such a true seeker, when he realizes this eternal harmony in life, understands the truth, not as we generally understand things in the world outside. I'll read this paragraph one more time. The condition under which the seeker reaches the state of God realization is painted here vividly by the author Bharati Vamsa. So long as we are not able to get rid completely of all our unnecessary mental agitation and the natural extrovertedness, this subtle melody of infinite bliss cannot be contacted or clearly received in our bosom. Therefore, the Acharya says that leaving desire, anger, that's kama, krodha, greed is moha, is it? Greed and delusion. What is the greed is? Greed is the lobha. Okay. So, leaving desire, kama, krodha, anger, greed, lobham, delusion is moha. So, you leave all those four. The seeker must strive with an enthusiastic alertness to feel the inspired experience of the transcendental reality. Such a true seeker, when he realizes this eternal harmony in life, such a true seeker, when he realizes this eternal harmony in life, understands the truth, not as we generally understand things in the world outside. All our knowledge in our outer world are objective, and therefore we understand them as something. Doctor Savitaji, can you read for a little bit? I'll be back.
Okay.
Read from all our knowledge, please.
All okay. All our knowledge all our knowledge is the font is small. Yeah. All our knowledge is the in the outer world are objective, and therefore we understand them as something other than ourselves. This spiritual truth being the very core of our own existence, when the realization comes, it will not be that I have understood it, him, but the experience will be he am I, soham, that am I, tadasmi. This is something like discovering after a lot of searching the lost key at last in your own pocket. No doubt the man will cry out, I have got the key, I have got the key. But in fact, there was to getting it. It was only a process of discovering the key that was already there in his pocket, which was lying concealed under his own ignorance of existence. So, too, this perfect state of tranquility is man's real nature due to desire, anger, greed, and delusion. This bliss seems to be for him veiled from himself, and when his agitation are quietened, behind it stands the truth in all its resplendency. Angry and impatient, restless and agitated, when Radha waits for the Lord under the tree, some rough hand sweetly closes her eyes from behind. She protests, gets angry, gets worried, really afraid. Holding the hand that covers her eyes, she fights, howls, curses, and in the end discovers that the very hands that covered her eyes belonged to the very one for whom she was waiting for all the time. Once the passions of the heart are removed, truth self evident stands revealed as the very eternal sweetness of perfection. He who has not gained this self knowledge, Atmajnana, who has not experienced this infinite perfection, comes to live in a sorrowful misunderstanding that life is a stream of vulgar sorrows, perspiring passions, exhausting desires, and endless sentiments. And he indeed is a crown jewel among fools. Mudha Shiromani. In the non apprehension of reality, misapprehensions of ego and its desire, greed and anger, likes and dislikes, and such other misapprehensions arise, and they create a self made hell for man to live in and suffer continuously. Tortured by them, torn limb by the buffeting waves of passions in his own bosom, man cries as a sorrowful creature, eternally suffering in a self condemned existence, in a hell created by himself for himself. This stanza reminds us of another verse attributed generally to Shankara, which says, desire, anger, greed are looters that stand within the body, ready to plunder the knowledge gem. Therefore, be vigilant, be vigilant. The footnote says, Kama, Krodhascha, Lobhascha, Dehe Tishtanti Taskaraha, Jnanarthan, Apaharya, Tasmat, Jagrat, 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 Jagrat. This is from where this is not mentioned. This shloka is from which like
It's from the Jagrata, it says. One, it says something. Anyway, let me see, it's in the next
from
page.
where it has been taken, it is not mentioned.
Yeah, I didn't say that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I'll be there.
You want to continue, Dr. Mara?
No, go and finish. I'll read it again.
Okay. Therefore, to sum up, renounce desire, anger, and greed, and come to experience in your own personal subjective experience that He am I. This alone is the fulfillment of a man's mission in life. In fact, God alone is. The concept of I is a stupid dream. Surrender and realize. Through right knowledge, reject what you are not and assert your real nature and come to realize the oneness of the life in you and the life everywhere present. Yeah, this is it.
Okay. I'll go back and
Read one more time. Yeah.
yeah. So we read it up to this part, right? Where leaving desire, anger, greed, illusion. That part we read. I'll
Yeah.
read from here. All our knowledge. Okay. All our knowledge in the outer world are objective, and therefore we understand them as something other than ourselves. This spiritual truth being the very core of our own existence. So we have all our knowledge in the outer world are objective, and therefore we understand them as something other than ourselves. This spiritual truth being the very core of our own existence, when the realization comes, it will not be that I have understood it, understood him, but the experience will be he am I, soham, that am I, tadasmi. This is something like discovering after a lot of searching the lost key. At last, in your own packet, no doubt the man will cry out, I have got the key. I have got the key. Isn't that nice? This is something like discovering after a lot of searching the lost key. At last, in your own packet, no doubt the man will cry out, I have got the key. I have got the key. But in fact, there was to getting it. It was only a process of discovering the key that was already there in his packet, which was lying concealed under his own ignorance of its existence. So too, this perfect state of tranquility in man's real nature. So to this perfect state of tranquility in man's real nature, due to desire, anger, greed, and delusion, that kama, krodha, lobha, and moha. So those four, due to this desire, anger, greed, and delusion, this bliss seems to me to be for him veiled from himself. And when his agitations are quietened, behind it stands the truth in all its resplendency. Angry and impatient, restless and agitated, when Radha waits for the Lord under the tree, some rough hand sweetly closes her eyes from behind. She protests, gets angry, gets worried, really afraid. Holding the hand that covers her eyes, she fights, howls, curses, and in the end discovers that the very hand that covered her eyes belonged to the very one for whom she was waiting all the time. Once the passions of the heart removed, truth self evident stands revealed as the very eternal sweetness of perfection. He who has not gained this self knowledge, Atmajnana, who has not experienced this infinite perfection, comes to live in a sorrowful misunderstanding that life is a stream of vulgar sorrows, perspiring passion, exhausting desires, and endless sentiments. And he indeed is a crown jewel among fools. Muda Shiromani. Oh God. Muda Shiromani. in the non-apprehension of reality, misapprehensions of ego, its desires, greed, and anger, likes and dislikes, and such other misapprehensions arise, and they create a self-made hell for man to live in and suffer continuously. Tortured by them, torn limb by limb, by the buffering waves of passions in his own bosom, man cries as a sorrowful creature, eternally suffering in a self-condemned existence, in a hell created by himself for himself. This stanza reminds us of another verse attributed generally to Shankara, which says desire, anger, greed, or looters that stand within the body, ready to plunder the knowledge gem. Therefore, be vigilant, be vigilant. How nicely he said. Desire, anger, greed, or looters that stand within the body, ready to plunder the knowledge gem. Therefore, be vigilant, be vigilant. That is from, I think it says Jagrata, Jagrata. The Jagrata is what
I
is
think
called
there
as
is a series on
wakeful
Jagrata,
state.
Jagrata.
Huh?
You know, there is one verse completely Jagrata, Jagrata.
Yeah,
Shankara.
there is,
That.
I think it is probably the wakeful state, I think.
Yeah, we have heard it. I think we have heard it.
Yeah, Kamaha, Krodasya, Lobasya, Dehi, Tishtanti, Tishtanti, Taskaraha, Jnanarthan, Apaharya, Tasmat, Jagrata, Jagrata. Therefore, to sum up, renounce desire, anger, and greed. What was one more thing? Is delusion. And come to experience in your own personal subjective experience. Come to experience in your own personal subjective experience, not objective, okay? Subjective experience that he am I. This alone is the fulfillment of man's mission in life. This alone is the fulfillment of man's mission in life. In fact, God alone is the concept of I, is a stupid dream. In fact, God alone, the concept of I is a stupid dream. Surrender and realize. So don't keep dreaming, just surrender and realize. Through right knowledge, reject what you are not. Through right knowledge, reject what you are not and assert your real nature and come to realize the oneness of life, oneness of the life in you and the life everywhere present. They're really hammering this point every sloka. Surrender and realize. Through right knowledge, reject what you are not and assert your real nature and come to realize the oneness of the life in you and the life everywhere present. There's 3 points. They made it very nice. Is any paragraph to be repeated? Any otherwise we can share your.
Now, and this, what they say, reject what you are not. We are not to reject it, you know. Reject
what
is
you not means that anatma, right? That
anatma, but not to reject it because we cannot reject it. It is false. We have to negate it. Actually, there was a topic on this reject and negation. Reject is whatever it is there, we have to reject. But that is false is there, you know. So we have to negate it, not reject it.
Yeah, but you know the way they,
Yeah, no means here it is written, but that is the negation. Shankara says no negation.
The whole world is negated. They have to be negated, right?
Negated, not the rejected.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens. Very good.
So don't, those four things, give up, renounce those kama, krodha, lobha, moha. That it is like that, renounce that. And when the mind agitations and everything is removed, then like the man, how he had the key in his pocket and looking for the key everywhere. Like that, when you have these four things in our in our heart or in our mind, we are not going to see the self. So when it's all cleared from the brain or the mind, then when the mind is all no sanchala, then the true self will be reflected, um, realized. Basically, you're not going to get it. It just, they say it's there. You just have to realize that's there. So that's it, your real nature. Once you know your awareness, the life, that you find the other life everywhere present also the same. And that is Sarvatra Samadarshana, like that. Okay. So please share your thoughts on this. Let me go back to the sloka.
Hari Om. I love the word Mudha Shiromani.
Yeah.
We all, that is such a sarcastic way. We are, we all live in that world, the world of objects always.
Mm.
That mana, our mind always takes us to desire and kama, krodha. Even that reminds us the Bhagavad Gita, krodhat bhavati sammoha, sammohat smriti vibramsha, smriti smriti
The
bhramshat.
crown jewel
Vinash.
among fools, that's the Muda Shiromani. Like,
Yeah,
that was like
it's a beautiful word.
misunderstanding. Yeah. That we
It's a slap on the
misunderstand.
face, actually.
Yes,
We are
He
writing.
gives every sloka, we get a new names.
I know.
I think we are all this Buddha Shiromani.
The way he slaps our face, it doesn't hurt, but at the same time, it makes us
No,
red.
he kind of he scolds, but in nicely scolding and then giving you the way to understand it. Like you're, if if your mom hits you, you don't get. You maybe you feeling cry that time, but then after that, oh, it's amma only, So you like go along. You don't get mad.
Yeah, he's using Satyam Vada, Priyam Vada. He's doing Priyam Vada.
Yeah.
Like the father, I think in Bhagavad Gita, where we learned how he tells the son, follow the scriptures, read the scriptures, and how beautifully there was one sloka that we had read earlier. How you present the truth, you must present it in a very pleasant manner.
Yeah.
Not he is giving slaps, but in a pleasant way. It's like using a
Skillful
flower.
reprimand.
Yeah, he's covered the whip with flowers and he's using the whip.
How many times I have to tell you this? You better get on. He
I think
gives
this,
Yeah.
with this
gives you so
book,
many different ways to achieve this thing. Now he come to the bottom line here, the leaving the desire, anger, greed, delusion, that four things.
I think we should be having Shadripu, Mada Matsarya also, in this.
I mean, if you have Kama Krodha, that will follow anyway.
Yeah,
Right.
everything. Yeah.
That has the tail. It will
We
come
have
with
like
this.
six of
Team,
that.
it
Right?
is the team.
It is the Dushta Chatush, not Dushta Chatushta. Dushta Chatushtayam is in Mahabharata. Duryodhana, Dushashana and all that. But so the importance of having Antakarana Shuddhi and Antakarana Naischalya is very beautifully brought out here. Where you don't need to do anything. To find that key that you've lost, which was there with you all the time. All you
Yeah.
need is just that knowledge that it was there with you.
Oh,
So for that to happen, we will it is important for us to settle all those mental agitations from that rajas. Tamas, of course, you would have come up off to rajas, and rajas is what is creating all this desires and
agitation.
passions and agitations. From there, move on to sattva with regular practice of shama, dama, uparama, vairagya, viveka, all of that. And then with dhyana, with the practice of meditation where you attain that antakarana naischalya, that stillness. In that clean mirror, there you're able to see your true
Self.
self. There's no objectification. It is you.
Yeah.
So it is. This
It's also
shloka
that,
is very beautiful.
yeah, it's very nice. And also he gave the example of Radha and Krishna about how she's waiting under the tree. Good example, you know. So
This
you get,
this example of Radha, like she gets angry. It is depicting like how if when we are in ignorance and how we are suffering and how like we are howling, cursing, fighting, and all these type of
you can easily
activities.
give up, right? So
Yeah,
that's where that is, you know. So yeah, you have all this because that's what covering your this truth, you know. So
yeah.
telling again and again the same.
I'm just wondering how, for
Mm,
enlightened masters, enlightened people,
mm,
how or the rest of us struggling in life must be. It must be a big comical scene for them.
yeah,
It's like a comedy. I mean, the way we are.
we are like ducks sitting there and
Yeah, it is. It is like living in hell,
oh
and
my
we're
God.
refusing to let go. We're refusing to. We're holding on to these false impressions.
It'd be like
Mooda
Many years
Shiromani.
ago,
Mm.
Moda
many
Shiromani.
years, many years ago, Gurudev has said, it is
Mm.
like watching 1,000 channel comedy show.
Yeah. And think about it, how fun it'd be for Brahman, you know. Bhagavan, you know, will be having really fun one time, one way, another way. Oh, how much I have to put up with these people, like. uh,
In fact, the way
mm,
the way creation actually started is started this way. It says
mm,
Tokamayata. He just thought about it. And
mhm,
Bahunam Prajayeti. He just a thought. And then this whole thing was created. So it is said he was alone and he was, feeling bored. There was nothing
mm.
for him to do. So he created this world and he said, go, let them be. Let them be people. Let them be this. And then he's watching all the fun. But then that is what, see, there is one paragraph which I thought maybe we need to read one more time is,
Sure.
in fact, God alone is. And
Yeah.
although,
God alone. You were in this one?
I think it was the last paragraph.
Last one. Yeah. Last one, I remember reading something like that. God alone.
God alone is. And
Let me see.
the I is a stupid something, stupid
Therefore,
idea, something he
therefore
Yeah,
said.
it is
sum
in
up.
therefore to summarize.
Yeah,
Therefore to
therefore to
summarize.
sum up, renounce. Yeah, last, extreme
The
last.
last paragraph?
Yeah.
Okay.
Furthermore, this page.
This alone is the fulfillment. God alone
Yeah,
is the concept of I, is a stupid dream, meaning you cannot be just dreaming, like that's what I thought, you know. You have to do that, you know, surrender and realize. In fact, God alone is the concept of I, is a stupid dream. Oops, sorry. And surrender and realize. Through right knowledge, reject what you're not and assert your real nature, and come to realize the oneness of life in you and the life everywhere present. Maybe it'd be nice to read what really Bhagavan Shankaracharya wrote in Sanskrit. Sometimes when the translation get translated into something,
Yeah.
or
No,
this
so the thing
coming
is, the
from
God, in
Chennai.
fact, God
Mm.
alone is. It should
Yeah.
be a full stop there. I think they put in a hyphen there.
Right.
It's okay. It doesn't matter. The concept of I is a stupid dream. It is.
Do you think that's a ego part, or
Mm. Yeah, that is what it is.
Mm.
You're seeing yourself separate.
Yeah,
The fact is, there is only Advaita. There is no Dvaita there.
Dvaita.
So there's only God, and you are He. I am Him. He is you. So
Yeah.
Tattvamasi.
This whole paragraph, that's why I read this twice here. Your own personal subjective experience, not you're thinking, oh, I have the key, and thinking like key is an object, right? Like, but then, this is like this is subjective experience. So this is the reason we had be looking inside that Atma Vichara and all that
Yeah.
has to happen inwardly. So it's more of subjective experience.
It's not
And
also an experience. It's a subjective realization.
realization. Yeah. And
Yeah.
also he mentioned that the oneness of life in you, the life everywhere present. So we're going to look at, even though the world is an illusion and all that, but whatever exists is Brahman. So, like you said, the Brahman is, he doesn't do anything. He just there, impermanent everywhere. He created he gave the power to Maya, Shakti, and then he kind of stay back and watch everybody. So that's what he's doing. And we need to realize him and get over this Maya part. But talk about Maya also, all the slokas that when you read Lalita Sahasranamam and all that, it's still, I know, I feel like we still need the grace of Mother um, to get over this whole thing.
Of course, because she is His reflection, so to say. So she's all powerful, everything.
Yeah,
All that He is.
Without Shakti, all Brahma, Vishnu, all of them are going to be no power, no, they won't do anything. But all this creation, that's what even Lalita Sahasranamam says, all that.
There is a story, no? I think it is Shringi, Shiva's devotee, who did not want to worship Mother. So Gurudev only shared this story. You must have heard it. That he tried to do pradikshina only for Shiva, but always with Shiva, Parvati was there. So he was getting very annoyed how to go around Shiva. So I think he becomes a bee and he goes just around Shiva's neck. So Parvati was not included. Now both Shiva and Parvati noticed that. So, but Shiva kept quiet. So Parvati withdrew from Shringi. And then he realized that without Mother's energy, he cannot move, even though he is Shiva's devotee. And then Shiva tells Parvati, please restore his energy. Have you heard that story?
No, I'm hearing it for the first time. I didn't hear this before.
I am also hearing it first time.
But it's nice. It's a beautiful.
Yeah. I heard the other way around too, like in order to get Lakshmi Mata's grace, like you have to pray to Vishnu, like because he is the concept. So she is in his heart. So you have to pray to him. So she'll be happy and provide you with wealth and whatnot, whatever that is to be. But anyway,
Yes, Gurudev has shared this story also about if you want Lakshmi, go to Narayana because Lakshmi is at the
Narayana
feet of
first.
Narayana. So when Narayana comes, Lakshmi will come along. He has said that story also.
There is one on the chat. Biology said the 10th man story. Have you heard that, right? Like 10th man story. Like there are like people, like
Yes.
some, yeah. It's so fun to read that story. It's always they're like there are 4 or 5 people who don't want to do any work, but they want to get the food easily. And so they said, okay, we'll go to the sannyasi, they'll get the food. And they saw some sannyasi place, where they're getting free food and all that. They didn't have to work, they thought. So they go there, and then, it's a long story. And then they, I don't remember all the steps, and that it's that funny story about they count themselves, but they won't count by themselves, that person by himself, but he count everybody in front of him. So every time he count, only comes 9. I thought, oh, they were crossing a river, and then after crossing the river, they would count everybody is there, and then they kind of always missing one person. Then that one guy walking by, and he said, okay, let me count, and you will give the money or whatever they have. Okay, then he will count, and all of them, and without counting him, he will say that you missed a person, then he get the 10 people. So that's the 10th man story. Like you don't realize yourself when you count. When you counting,
miss yourself.
Yeah, miss yourself. Yeah. Yeah, it's a nice story, but it has long story. I kind of didn't remember all of it. Anyway, so anyone want to share any more, or should we go to 27? Do we want to chant this one more time, Dr. Pramala?
Yeah. Geyam Gita Nama Sahasram Dheyam Shripatirupamajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Chavittam Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhajamudhamate.
Goyam is to be chanted, sung.
Geyam.
Gita.
Geyam.
No, but in my text it is written Goyam. Geyam. It is Geyam is to be chanted, sung. Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Nam Sahasram is Sahasranam. Namam. Dheyam is to be meditated upon. Shripati Rupam, the form of the Lord of Lakshmi. Ajasram, always. Neyam, the mind is to be led. Sajjana Sange, in the association, company of the good. Chittam, the mind. Deyam is to be distributed. Deen Janaya cha, to the needy. Vittam, wealth. Geyam Gita Nam Sahasram Dheyam Shripati Rupam Ajasram Neyam Sajjana Sange Chittam Deyam Dina Janaya Cha Vittam. Bhajagovindam, Bhajagovindam.
Can you hear me okay? Yeah. The Bhagavad Gita and Sahasranama are to be chanted. Wow. The Bhagavad Gita and Sahasranama are to be chanted. Always the form of Lord of Lakshmi is to be, talking about Lakshmi, she's here already. Lord of Lakshmi, meditated upon. The mind is to be led towards the company of good. Wealth is to be distributed, shared with the needy. Seek Govind, seek Govind. See. I'll read this one more time. The Bhagavad Gita and Sahasranama are to be chanted. Always the form of Lord of Lakshmi is to be meditated upon. The mind is to be led towards the company of the good. Wealth is to be distributed, the needy, shared with the needy. Seek Govind, seek Govind. This verse represents the conclusion of the bouquet of 14 verse blossoms. This is Chaturtasha Mancharika Stotram. So Chaturtasha Mancharika Stotram. So this verse represents the conclusion of bouquet of 14 verse blossoms. And it is attributed to the last of the 14 followers of Shankara. It is attributed to the last of the 14 followers of Shankara who were with him in this particular Kasi pilgrimage of the Acharya. The author is named traditionally as Sri Sumati. It is indeed a fitting last stanza inasmuch as it declares a spiritual program which a student can follow when once he is convinced of the necessity of realizing the highest. So when once he is convinced of the necessity of realizing the highest. Advice of all spiritual preceptors are worded the same, but very rarely do students try to understand their significance. Here also there is nothing new in the advice as such. It only enumerates 4 unavoidable musts in the daily program of sincere seeker. It only enumerates 4 unavoidable musts in the daily program of sincere seeker: Gita study, worship of Narayana, company of the good, and serving the needy. Those 4 things. I'll read this paragraph, it's very nice. It is indeed a fitting last stanza inasmuch as it declares a spiritual program which a student can follow once he is convinced of the necessity of realizing the highest. Advice of all spiritual preceptors are worded the same, but very rarely do students try to understand their significance. Here also there is nothing new in the advice as such. It only enumerates 4 unavoidable musts in the daily program of a sincere seeker: Gita study, worship of Narayana, company of the good, and the serving the needy. The Bhagavad Gita is a summary of Upanishadic truths with special reference to their practical application in man's everyday conduct in life. To study them intelligently is to bring about a reorientation in our intellectual outlook on life. Again, to study them intelligently is to bring about a reorientation in our intellectual outlook on life and in our attitude to the world of happenings around. It explains both the goal and the path, and also gives different techniques of living religion in our everyday life. It explains, I'll read this again, it explains both the goal and the path, and also gives different techniques of living religion in our everyday life. Study in itself cannot accomplish self-unfoldment in the seeker, although study is absolutely necessary for the intellectual satisfaction of the seekers. The ideas which are rationally appreciated may not bring by themselves there. Again, the ideas which are rationally appreciated may not bring by themselves there. Their promised glow to life unless one leaves them diligently and thus brings them within the subjective experience of oneself. Philosophy enumerates ideals and supplies the logical sequence of thinking by which contemplative minds can come to appreciate the entire implications of philosopher's viewpoint. So the Bhagavad Gita is a summary of Upashad. I'm going to read this one paragraph again. Study in itself cannot accomplish self-unfoldment in the seeker, although study is absolutely necessary for the intellectual satisfaction of the seekers. The ideas which are rationally appreciated may not bring by themselves their promised glow to life unless one leaves them diligently and thus brings them within subjective experience of oneself. So just reading by itself is not going to do self-unfoldment. You have to leave them diligently and thus brings them within the subjective experience of oneself. Philosophy enumerates ideals and supplies the logical sequence of thinking by which contemplative minds can come to appreciate the entire implications of the philosopher's viewpoint. So philosophy enumerates ideals and supplies the logical sequence of thinking by which contemplative minds can come to appreciate the entire implications of the philosopher's viewpoint. But without a definite technique of living up to those values, the best philosophy can only be a mere utopian dream. All the practical methods by which philosophical ideas are woven into our everyday life. Again, all the practical methods by which philosophical ideas are woven into our everyday life together in their entirety constitute the very essence in all true religions. So together in their entirety constitute the very essence in all true religions. So not only reading it, and it's supposed to follow that in life. Hence, teachers of the past like Vivekananda and others cried that religion without philosophy is superstition and philosophy without religion is a lunatic dream. So Vivekananda and others cried that religion without philosophy is a superstition and philosophy without religion is a lunatic dream. So you have to have both, looks like. When a seeker has studied the Gita and has understood its logic, he has to plow those perfections into himself. And this is done through religion. Again, when a seeker has studied the Gita and has understood its logic, he has to plow those perfections into himself. And this is done through religion, indicated here by the term worship of the Lord of Lakshmi. To contemplate upon the 1001 glories of Narayana Sahasranama and thus to learn to surrender ourselves at his altar and thereby get ourselves attuned to him is a true worship. Maybe after this we should read Sahasranam. To contemplate upon the 1001 glories of Narayana Sahasranama, and thus to learn to surrender ourselves at his altar and thereby get ourselves attuned to him is true worship. This helps to integrate the inner personality. So this helps to integrate the inner personality, lifting our mind high above its ordinary fields of self-polluting agitations. Lifting our mind high above its ordinary fields of self-polluting agitations. By tuning the mind with the higher, it imbibes into itself the noble qualities of the very Lord of nobility, Sri Lakshmipati. By tuning the mind with the higher, it imbibes into itself the noble qualities of the very Lord of nobility, Sri Lakshmipati. All our efforts, sorry, all our efforts and worship can be washed down. All our efforts at study and worship can be washed down in a single moment's high tide of passion in the bosom. To protect the fields of our heart from such tornadoes and the company of the good Sajjana Sangam. Sajjana Sangam is very essential. So, to protect the fields of our heart from such tornadoes, the company of the good Sajjana Sangam is very essential. To be in the company of noble spiritual leaders, cultured men of inspiring vision, will keep us constantly warmed up in our enthusiasm to live up to our ideals. Again, satsang helps us to walk the path with an assuring self-confidence, where fear and hesitation, despondency and despair have no chance to despoil our sincerity and eagerness. Again, satsang helps us to walk the path with an assuring self-confidence, where fear and hesitation, despondency and despair have no chance to despoil our sincerity and eagerness. In the constant association with the noble souls alone can our knowledge of the scriptures become clear and the devotion of our hearts can become really deep and firm. How nicely elaborate on this. The individual seeker may, one, study the Gita. So this is the lesson for all of us. An individual seeker may study the Gita. 2, practice religion. And 3, pursue the company of the good. And yet his evolution cannot be assured unless in his daily contacts with his fellow men, he has got the heroism to live the spiritual ideals of the one infinite life everywhere. Oh, wow. One infinite life everywhere. The Lord of my heart is the one indweller in all bosoms. Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetrashu bharata. Chapter 13, 3 sloka. Let me see. Yeah. Third sloka is the third sloka? Kshetrajnam, yeah. Kshetrajnam chapimam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata. Kshetrajnyor jnanam yat tad jnanam matam mama. Know me, ocean of Bharata race, to be Kshetrajna with the spirit in all Kshetras bodies. The knowledge of the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna alone is real knowledge according to me. So the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna, Nanandi, he put it in the difference, right? Kshetra and Kshetrajna in the 42 verses. We have to read that again. So where am I? Yeah, here. So we start. The spiritual ideals of one infinite life everywhere. The Lord of my heart is the one indweller in all bosoms. If I fail to revere the Lord in the heart of all, if I fail to revere the Lord in the heart of all, but worship Him elaborately with flowers and bells only in the inert metal or wooden idols, I am, to be certain, not very sincere and true devotee. So, if I fail to revere the Lord in the heart of all, but worship Him elaborately with the flowers or bells only in the inert metal or wooden idols, I am, to be certain, not a very sincere and true devotee. So, here another thing to remember. Therefore, the teacher here insists that the seeker of the Lord must practice charity. So, therefore, the teacher here insists that the seeker of the Lord must practice charity. This is very often misunderstood by even those who diligently practice it. Charity must flow from one's own abundance. Thus, the first requirement would be efforts to earn sufficiently in order that you may share it with those who have a need for that commodity which they have not got now with themselves. Charity in an attempt wherein I try to expand and bring into the ambit of my life all others around me and grow to consider the other man's needs and requirements to be as important as my own personal needs. So, again, charity is an attempt wherein I try to expand and bring into the ambit of my life all others around me and grow to consider the other man's needs and requirements to be as important as my own personal needs. To live seeking thus an identity with uh, at least who are immediately around me. To live seeking thus an identity with at least those who are immediately around me is to live away from the suffocating selfishness and the throttling grip of my body consciousness. To ignore the needs of others around is not religion. To ignore the needs of others around is not religion. Religious unfoldment can reach only the heart, that has steadily unrolled itself to invite into its into its chambers a wider circle of loving brotherhood. Heart that has steadily unrolled itself to invite into its chambers a wider circle of loving brotherhood. So basically, love all. So anything you want me to repeat in this paragraph?
Yeah, this last paragraph actually signifies what kind of seva needs to be done, with what attitude. Even seva can be tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic. So he's talking of the sattvic seva here, where you are including all the others as their needs as your needs. So that sense of belongingness it's coming out of that sense. It is not coming out of something to say, oh, I have donated so much and then announce it to the whole world. That will become rajasic. Here you're recognizing everybody as part of you. That sense of belongingness, you're expanding your circle of need to others' needs as well.
Yeah. And also it has to come from your own efforts to earn sufficiently in order that you may share it with those who have need for that commodity which they have not got now with themselves. So it's really elaborated on all the 4 things, right? First, to study Gita, and then worship Lord Narayana, and the worship in a way that not just putting flowers and the mantra, but you have to worship. Really, they said something here.
It is like that having that sambhav.
No, it's like you're not. I mean, it's in the heart of all. Like you're doing it. What do I say? Like
if I fail to rever the Lord in the heart of all, but
all.
worship him elaborately with flowers and bells only in the inert metal of wooden idol, I am, to be certain, not a very sincere and true devotee. So I think this sentence is telling about that how we should have some bhav for everyone, like seeing the Lord in every person.
Right. Not just worshipping the
Just
idol in front of you
mechanically
or a
you are
picture in
worshiping
front of
and
you.
thinking for yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
profits you are looking for. Yeah.
That's what.
It's like said, Manava Seve, Madhava Seva. So you might be doing a whole lot of elaborate rituals, but if you're not able to treat your people at home or even your housemaid or anybody around you with equanimity,
respect and
then with respect and
What did you
kindness.
say, Dr. Ramra? What did you say? Madhav Seva, Manav Seva, right?
Manava Seve, Madhava Seva.
Okay.
The worship of the people around is seva of people around is
worship.
Yeah, is Lord's worship.
And then the Sahasranama it said, and then what else do you read? Yeah, charity. The last one is the charity.
And the people company, good company also, it's repeatedly being said of in these verses. Company of the good, no? Company of the good people. Yeah.
Yeah, please share your thoughts. I don't know what happened to my sharing. It kind of disappeared.
I heard for like in Gujarat, maybe some businessman, he got so much profit that he distributed cars to every employee of his, and how he shared his the additional, like the profit he acquired over a year, he shared it with his every employee. So I read it somewhere.
You can see my screen, right? You guys can see it?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So please share your things, and so that I can play the Dr. Brahmara, you have anything to add on this, or should we? I know today is 27, we finish, and then 28, 29, 30, and then we have 6 more to read. Please kindly everyone share your thoughts, please. Whatever you can remember from this.
So it is not enough if we're just doing this 1.5 hours of manana which is also important. Not that it is not. It is part of the sadhana, but it needs to be translated outside of this as well. In all the dealings, moment to moment, dealings with people, with
company of the good, like it said. So we have to maintain that throughout the day.
Yeah.
And
basically living a life of awareness.
That was
need-based living, so that you don't let desires and passions overtake you.
See, that's what it said, right? Not just reading alone is, yes, reading is essential, but then after reading it, you diligently follow it.
Yeah. And that is why the thing of religion and philosophy, they said, the comparison, philosophy without religion is waste. Similarly, religion without philosophy. So both are required. The Shastra Patana is required, very important, so that it gives you the insight of what the truth is, what you're following, what is that, what you're aspiring to realize. That is important. And
so that's why everybody shares, then everybody brings one point, because somehow I'm not saying everything that we read. Essentially, that's what's needed. It'd be nice.
Because that is what even Chayana would say. He says, Manana should be where everybody shares. Because when you're listening, there is some point that will strike you. And when you share that, when everybody, 10 people in the group share, each one shares, that will aid the understanding of the whole group. That is true Manana. Otherwise, it becomes just 2 or 3 people sharing. So here's a nice forum where all of us can share.
I mean,
Hariom, very beautifully, the roadmap has been shown repeatedly again and again. In the previous verse also, it was told that dedicated study of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, then service, and constant study and manana. So it doesn't matter how many times we read Gita, but how much Gita passes through our life, that is important. So how much, as Dr. Brahmaraji and Dr. Mara and everybody said, Dr. Savitaji also said samatvam, like how well you are able to put it into your practical world, which is the world of objects always, to the subjective, where the samatvam is experienced and is implicated. That you accept everyone as your own self. And yesterday, while I was reading that time, that also struck me, where Swamiji, Sri Shankara was telling about that in dream, it is dream and the outside, when you are awakened from the dream. This is not related to the present stanza, but I was thinking in dream, it is our own self which is manifesting as different people, situation, and things around us in dream. In the same way, when we are awakened, we realize that it is the manifestation of my own self, whether it is the mother-in-law, or maybe the father-in-law, or maybe the friend, or the son or daughter. It is my own self, or the friend, or the stranger. They are nothing but myself, the manifestation of my own self only. Then that Advaita Bhava will automatically come.
Yeah. Sometimes, I myself have
very, very beautiful, extrapolating our dream experience into the waking. It's a very nice correlation.
Yeah. So that should I play the the slokas now, or should
we'll do the Shanti part and then we'll do this?
Okay, thanks.
Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishnarpanamastu. Jai Gurudev. We can't hear the. I think you're not sharing screen, Dr. Mara.
Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhaja Muramate Suramudivatagolanivasah Shariyamudalam Ajinam Vasah Suramudivatagolanivasah Shariyamudalam Ajinam Vasah Sarva Parigraha Mogatyaga Sarva Parigraha Mogatyaga Tasya Sukham Na Karoni Viraga Tasya Sukham Na Karoni Viraga Bhajagovindam Bhajagovindam Govindam Bhaja Muramate Yogaratoba 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 Sangaratoba Sangavinah Yogaratoba Yogaratoba Sangaratoba Sangavinah Yasya Brahmani Ramate Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chito Yasya Brahmani Ramate Chito Nandati Nandati Nandadeva Nandati Nandati Nandadeva Bhajagovindam 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 Govindam Bhaja Muramate Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Bhagavad Gita Kinchidadhita Ganga Jalalava Kanika Pita Sakudabhihena Murari Sakudabhihena Murari Samachar Sakudabhihena भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननं पुनरपि मरणं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनं पुनरपि जननी जठरे शयनं इह संसारे बहुतो स्वारे इह संसारे बहुतो स्वारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे कृपया पारे पाहि मुरारे भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते रत्याचर्पट विरचितकन्तः रत्याचर्पट विरचितकन्तः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्तः पुण्या पुण्यविवर्जितपन्तः योगी योग नियोजितचित्तः योगी योग नियोजितचित्तः रमते बालो माधव देव रमते बालो माधव देव भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते कस्त्वं भोऽहं कुत आयातः कस्त्वं भोऽहं कुत आयातः कामे जननी गोमे दातः कामे जननी गोमे दातः इति परिभावय सर्वमसारम् इति परिभावय सर्वमसारम् विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् विश्वं त्यक्त्वा स्वप्नविचारम् भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते वैमयी चान्या त्रयिको विष्णुः वैमयी चान्या त्रयिको विष्णुः व्यर्थं कोऽप्यसि मया सहिष्णुः व्यर्थं कोऽप्यसि मया सहिष्णुः भव समचित्तः सर्वदा त्वं भव समचित्तः सर्वदा त्वं वाचस्य चिता यदि विष्णो त्वं वाचस्य चिता यदि विष्णो त्वं भज गोविन्दं भज गोविन्दं गोविन्दं भज मूढमते शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धो मा कुरु यत्नं निग्रहसन्धौ शत्रौ मित्रे पुत्रे बन्धो मा कुरु यत्नं सन्धौ सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानम् सर्वस्मिन्नपि पश्यात्मानम् सर्वत्रासृज भेदायाम् सर्वत्रासृज भेदायाम् भज गोविन्दम् भज गोविन्दम् गोविन्दम् भज मूढमते कामं क्रोधम् लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम् कामं क्रोधं लोभं मोहं त्यक्त्वात्मानं पश्यति सोऽहम् आत्मज्ञान विहीना मूढा आत्मज्ञान विहीना मूढा ते भजन्ते नरकनिगूढः ते भजन्ते नरकनिगूढः भज गोविन्दम् भज गोविन्दम् गोविन्दं भज पूर्णमते ध्येयं गीता नाम सहस्रम् ध्येयं श्रीपति रूपमजस्रम् ध्येयं गीता नाम सहस्रम् ध्येयं श्रीपति रूपमजस्रम् ज्ञेयं सज्जन सङ्गे चित्तम् ज्ञेयं सज्जन सङ्गे चित्तम् ज्ञेयं दीनजनाय च वेदम् ज्ञेयं दीनजनाय च वेदम् भज गोविन्दम् भज गोविन्दम् गोविन्दं भज मूढमते सुखतः क्रियते रामभोगः पश्चादन्तः शरीरे रोगः सुखतः क्रियते रामभोगः पश्चादन्तः शरीरे रोगः यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं यद्यपि लोके मरणं शरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणं तदपि न मुञ्चति पापाचरणं भज गोविन्दम् भज गोविन्दम् गोविन्दं भज मूढमते
We'll see you tomorrow. Shri Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.